So before we start this video, I want to talk about something. I was getting some coffee and this guy happened to notice the watch on my wrist. He asked me, is that real? This might be something very common for people who own expensive timepieces, especially the big brand names like Rolex. You get asked these questions once in a while. Well, the guy is just curious to see if it's real. I don't think he's trying to be a dick or anything. He was just genuinely trying to find out if it was real or not. At first I was kind of taken back because I didn't expect him to ask me anything. Out of nowhere he just asked me that question. So I kindly told him that yeah, it is indeed real. I'm kind of young, so he expected me to say no, it's a fake or something like that. But I let him know where I got it, how I got it. I told him that I'm a watch guy and he was genuinely interested. It just made me wonder, like, do you guys also get asked that question and how do you respond to them? After I gave my explanation to the guy, he told me it's a nice watch. He was happy to know where I got it, and I let him know that there's a lot of ways for him to get it as well without paying retail prices, and asked for my email and asked if I could help him out later. And that's what this hobby is really about. I just want to help people and let them know that there are a lot of means of getting these watches without spending tons of money. So I told him about the SARB 033 from Seiko and how it looks just like the Datejust 2. Obviously the quality is not the same, but it is an astonishing piece, and I let him know, and he said he would definitely look it up after he talks with his wife about it. And I thought that was pretty funny. So let's get on to the video.
So what to do after buying a vintage watch? I did make a video on tips for buying vintage watches online, and I'll have a link on the top right corner of this video for you to check out, but there are additional steps you must take after receiving the watch. So what you see right now is just another unboxing of a vintage Young Hands. I've been on this vintage Young Hands spree and I really have to stop, so I promised myself these are the last two that I check out. So it's obvious, but you need to make sure that the watch is running. If it's hand winding, give it a wind to see if the seconds hand move. And if it's automatic, give it a shake to charge the reserve to make sure the seconds hands move again. If the watch has complications like a date, check to see if the date change is working properly by moving the hands until the date changes. Now if it has a quick set function like this one, make sure that the quick set function works. But you should make sure that you do this between 3 a.m. and before 9 p.m. to avoid damage to the mechanism. For chronographs, run the chronograph to make sure that the hands move and align at the proper moment, and for any other complication, check to see if it's working properly. For high-end movements, you should definitely check to see if it's kosher. Take it to a professional for verification if you can't do this yourself. There's a lot of Franken watches which contain a mix of real and fake parts, so you really have to be careful of that. Lastly, you want to check the condition of the watch to see if it matches the description if it's a used piece. There can be damage and wear that was not properly depicted or described in the original listing. And lastly, check the timekeeping for 24 hours. See how much time it loses or gains and whether or not it matches the original description regarding its timekeeping. So the vintage watch or the vintage Young Hands here did not keep time well according to its specifications. From the time I bought it, it was losing a lot of time, so I had to talk to the seller about it and work out a deal with him. But this is something you should really take into consideration, because if a watch doesn't keep time, then you may be out for more money than you expected. And this is the other Young Hands that I bought. This one is actually a lot nicer. It has a very nice patina going on with it, but this one is in better condition. It's keeping fantastic time within a few seconds a day, so I'm really happy with this purchase. There's nothing wrong with it, and I took all the precautions I just mentioned before, so it was definitely a good buy. Buying vintage is always risky, but it can be very rewarding if you know what you're doing.